Divas! Welcome to the Groovy Chicks podcast.
I'm Kadzi.
And I'm Rihanna.
And this is episode 8.
Episode 9.
Episode 9.
It's episode 9, bitch.
Oh, God.
Yes,
See, this
we're
is the
losing
problem.
count now.
9 episodes in, guys.
Yes, woo! So, today's episode is very exciting.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking all things
Fashion.
fashion.
Yeah. So, fashion, and which fashion you're probably thinking? We today are going to be talking about the Matières Fécales show. So, the Fecal Matter show for Paris Fashion Week and the 1%.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this was their fall 2026 collection. And I guess we should start talking about who are they?
Yeah.
Like, and how did they start? You
Yeah,
know?
who are the faces?
So the duo themselves are called Fecal Matter. However, their fashion brand is called Matières Fécales, which I think I've said that right. Ask the French GF. Let's hope. The duo is consisting of Hannah Rose Dalton and Stephen Raj Bhaskaran.
That was hard.
It is.
That was difficult to pronounce.
So yeah, they started their fashion brand because they both lived in Montreal and went to the same art school together. And they're now based in Paris. And I watched an interview with Fashion Neurosis, it's called. It's very, very interesting. It's a whole hour and 15 minutes long episode all about them.
Yeah.
And in this episode, they speak about how they started 10 years ago. So Stephen, one of the designers, he actually started drawing illustrations when, like, way back before this duo even started. And in his illustrations, he was literally drawing Hannah. Like, he was drawing photos of her before she even looked like that.
That's insane.
So he was drawing this, like, alien-esque, like, bald-figured woman. And that's when it all, like, started in his brain. However, he didn't have that canvas. Like, that hadn't started at all. But then they met and they decided, one day he was at home and he was like, they came back from art school and he was like, fuck it, and just shaved his eyebrows off. And his parents were like, his mum was like, what the fuck?
Whoa,
and then
he
FaceTimed Hannah and Hannah's like, what the fuck? And then she the next week shaves her eyebrows off. So it's like they both started by shaving the eyebrows off.
I know for a fact, as having, African parents, people of colour, I know that his parents must have thought that is mental illness. Him shaving his eyebrows off.
They did. But it's really cool and
It's
very
sick.
queer. So Stephen, he grew up with different religions throughout his life, he explains, as his like mum had a lot of different partners. And basically he grew up in a bit of a Mormon household and he realised he was gay. And he spent his kind of entire life like figuring out what, like, how to be comfortable with himself as a gay man. And then years into the friendship with Hannah, they were on a night out and he basically realised that he was in love with her, even though he thought he was gay.
Because you said that he came from a Sri Lankan background as well.
Yes.
And what was the other? And it was...
So he's Canadian,
in South
but
American.
half Sri Lankan and half Guyana.
Yeah.
So he was like, it was a struggle for him, like, coming out as gay and stuff. He was on a night out with Hannah. She was flirting with a guy. He was like, fuck, this is my only chance to tell her, like, how I feel about her. And he like, basically at 4 a.m, like, they went a walk. And she was like, what the hell? Like, something's bad's gonna happen. Like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on with him? And he was like, I want to kiss you. And she was like, well, I'm not going to kiss you back. You're my gay best friend.
Yeah, because
Do you know what I
when
mean?
Rihanna told me this, I was like, but she didn't want to kiss him. Like, why would she not want to kiss him? Forgetting that, she knows him as her gay best friend.
Literally her gay best friend. Like, that's what she explains in the interview as well. Like, it was fully her gay best friend at this point. And then they're now a couple. It was Hannah's first kiss, first relationship, first everything is Stephen. And they live together now with their Sphinx cat. So they're all bald. They're all bald in the household. So I thought that was like a really interesting like background because they did start, like, they started 10 years ago as best friends for like years and years and years. And then now they're a couple, they're together and they're doing this. And the name Fecal Matter comes from like the concept of how they view the fashion industry as like shitty or disposable, and they decided to name themselves that like as a criticism against fast fashion and the fashion industry. And the duo wanted a name that forced viewers to look at the grotesque. And by using the French translation Matières Fécales, they felt it sounded more glamorous, you know, like it sounds better obviously than fecal matter because it literally means shit.
Yeah.
So,
but I quite like that they used quite an ugly name, I think, because I think that obviously a lot of high-end fashion brands that are very luxurious, you know, when you look at branding and marketing, the name is so important. And their name is actually really sick.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool.
And the thing is that the name, like, Matières Fécales is, like, it does sound better, and you maybe wouldn't know what that meant unless, like, you know French.
Yeah.
And it kind of, like, maintains its subversive meaning while sounding nicer. And I think it's really smart that they done that.
Yeah.
Another little bit of background is that, obviously, they were from Canada. They moved from Canada to New York, and they started off by making one-off pieces out of like scraps, and they sold them to drag queens from an underground nightclub, which is so interesting. And then they later started selling like one-of-a-kind upcycled pieces on Depop to avoid the high cost of mass production.
Which is crazy to me that they were on Depop. Like when Rihanna said that, I was like, wow, they really started off with this mindset of like, you know, sustainability in a sense, and like not doing consumerism and fast fashion. Because I mean, Depop, I think I don't love Depop, right, just because the commission thing, but I think it's sick that they started off doing that.
No, literally. And I think that even though like they're like, even still to this day, their message is about being sustainable. Like they've made a couture collection, which I guess you could critique that's not,
which we're gonna get
into. However, that's still their message. They don't ever mass produce. Like in the interview that I watched, the interviewer asked like, how many versions of that suit are you gonna make? And she was like 50 max. Like that's it. Like because they don't want to fall into mass production. And I think personally, from the interviews I've watched and the research that I've done, I think that the big brains behind all of this is Steven. Yeah, I really do.
Because she was his muse?
I think that she is his muse, and I think she's very talented too. But when I hear a lot about the process and the designs, he designs everything. He sketches everything. So he is the designer, but I'm sure she also is too. Do you know what I mean? But I don't really hear much from her about the process of design. But overall, they are a duo, so it is them two together, and that's how they choose to be. So,
and they seem like they are equals to each other.
They very much are.
But I guess like the media, when you do search up who they are, like they you hear more about Hannah, and I guess that just shows you again like the power dynamic in like race and stuff. Maybe not gender, but race in this aspect.
And privilege, because Hannah Rose Dalton grew up with money. She grew up privileged. He didn't. So that's like really interesting, the whole show, which now we're going to get into. So do you want to introduce us to their show, their fall
I think one thing that I can say about this whole show is the show about us, for real. Euphoria reference, because this is a amazing symbolism, and it's a really, really fun show to analyse. So basically the show worked in 3 different segments. So we had look 1, look 2 and look 3. And there was obviously loads of look for each one. The first look is called The Power of Archetypes, which I think is really interesting, and something that I learned was a French term called bourgeois family. So that is basically, it was an introduction to the bourgeois family because they were referring to the upper and middle class, which were defined by wealth, education and cultural capital. So when you're seeing like, you know, the mother, the father, the kids coming in, the two models that looked like twins, they were meant to be, you know, the debutantes. And you see this very classy and timeless pieces, but also a lot of figurative and literal like representation with the pearls.
Absolutely.
And just everything about it.
Bound by pearls, like tied up by pearls. Instead of handcuffs, it's pearls. It's even a gag with pearls. That was one of the most outstanding, crazy looks that I've ever seen on a runway. Is the ball gag with pearls. And you know what? When I'm talking about this, the shock factor that it's given everyone is reminding me of the early years of Alexander McQueen. Because this is the type of stuff that he would do that would make everyone go, we've done that at the same time. I love it. But section 1, I think, is definitely my favourite. And the pearl gag, like that I was just talking about there, that symbolism is like the greed.
Yes.
It's like you're gagged with greed within
That's
the 1%.
the perfect descriptive word for it. It is greed. Something that I also learned through watching the show was the attachment to youth, the attachment to like natural beauty. You see a lot of human modification in this entire show. That's for a reason. Plastic surgery is very much, I mean, it's been around for a long time, but right now, at this point in time, it feels very intense. And it's because like I think a lot of people are yearning for this like this youthful, like, you know, physicality. So you see a lot of like the prosthetics.
So much
That's
prosthetic. Like, so basically the person that designed all the makeup was Alexis Stone. And of course, like fecal matter obviously helped with that too. It's very them. With support from MAC Cosmetics, which I thought was a little bit like, what?
Boo.
You're getting help from MAC? Like, MAC still do animal testing, so, and they're quite controversial, but nonetheless, it was fucking beautiful. And when you're seeing like things on the runway, everything just stands out. The first thing that came to mind for me was Epstein.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now release the files.
Yeah.
It was given that, you know? Shirts that said I heart power.
Yeah.
Being physically blinded with money. Yeah. Oh my god. Like, we're literally so in tune in this.
We love this show.
Like the money over the eyes. One of my favourite looks, I'm trying to think what section this was on, but I think it was section 1, was the money coat.
Yeah.
The money coat.
That was my favourite.
Let me get my hands on that because I need that. Like, I'm obsessed with this. And I guess what we should explain as well is, what is the 1%?
Yeah. So I think like basically the 1% is like the percentage of people globally who are like in the 1%. I'm sorry, that's a really bad explanation. It's very self-explanatory, you know. It's people who are ridiculously and ultra wealthy.
People like Epstein.
It's high
people
society.
Like Trump.
Exactly. So, and a lot of these people, we don't actually know them. A lot of these people are quite hidden in the media. It's not like Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
It's people who are the puppeteers.
The elites.
Exactly.
Yeah. The elites that you don't see.
Yeah. And, you know, just to talk about the looks a little bit more, instantly you can see that in the first looks, because it's a lot of structured blazers, a lot of structured skirts, like the pencil skirts, and also the color palette. You notice that it's mainly greys, blacks, and whites, right? Was
and
obviously
some hot pink
as
well.
So about this, right? Because I was like, oh, like why is there a fuchsia, like bold fuchsia look in this when everything else is like quite bland? And I was thinking to myself, I was like, what are they trying to show us here?
Fuchsia's very rich.
It's very rich, and also, even though this dress is like such a wow moment and you see this dress, it doesn't take away from the face of the model, which is again human modification in the prosthetics. I think that they were trying to show that, like, yes, we've got this massive showy dress with a massive bow, fuchsia pink, but also you're still looking at her face and you feel chilly. You feel chilled by that. You're like, oh,
yeah, literally.
Like, it's really scary to look at.
The face tapes where it's like the prosthetic of skin,
and
it's dragging it back. I'm like, ooh, looks like it hurts. It reminds me of like seeing it's like a bit off topic, but in Charlie XCX's movie, The Moment, she talks about how she has 2 braids here that hold her face back, and how she's gone bald at the sides in the movie. I don't know if that's actual facts about her, but yeah, she kind of talks about that in it. And I'm like, yeah, people do that, and it says like modification.
It's a literal take on beauty is pain, you know.
Exactly.
It's physical, but something that I also find really interesting, I didn't see a lot of people talk about this, you know, as someone who wants to model myself, I really looked at the walks of each model, and for the looks for section 1, the walk that they had was entitlement, guys. It was unapologetic. It was snobby. Like, they walked with like, we're not sorry for anything. Like, we've got money and what? Exactly.
And that they really they carried that with themselves. And one of the main points actually that I wrote down about this like one section is a lot of them were wearing white gloves.
Yeah.
And they were titled the guilt gloves with it, and it's red on the other side, which is symbolism to having blood on their hands, because a lot of the 1% do.
Yeah.
If we're being real, that's what it's about. It's all about that. And like, I even wrote down like my notes from instantly watching the show before even seeing, like, I had seen like 1 or 2 videos about it, but not much at all. And instantly, as soon as I turned it on, the words that came to mind were ghastly, spooky, and mocking the rich.
Yeah.
Like, instantly I was like, okay, they're mocking the rich. Blood in their hands, Epstein, like, instantly. And the music as well. The music was so dark and everything. Like, the music was, it really, really brought it all together, I think. Like, it was just, it was perfect.
The music was amazing. I would love to talk about the music production as well, because Rihanna was actually the one that made me think about what the music made you feel, which I think I do naturally anyway, but I think she was telling me to pay attention to it because she had watched it first and then I did my own research. And when I was looking at the music, just like a little bit of fact, the music was composed by Jonathan Masiele. How do I pronounce that?
I think so, but don't ask me.
Yeah, so
Masiala, maybe?
Masiala, I think that's right. It was produced by John Masiala with a rendition of Henry Purcell's What Power Art Thou? So this is basically like, it's also known as a Cold Stone, and it portrays chromatic harmonies and chilling scattiato notes. So basically, like, it's meant to make you feel like shivers and tremble. And my interpretation of the music, and I think it's a huge part of the show, is because it creates this lucid, dreamlike state, right? And I think that's mainly part of the music. People have described the show a lot as dreamlike, and I think that's because of the music. Because when I was watching it, I was really enchanted by it, and I never want to take my eyes off it. Like, I did not want
Me too.
Want to take my eyes off the show.
I was watching it with my girlfriend, and I was literally like, shh. I was like, stop talking to me. Like, I'm so in tune with this. Like, I just want to watch the whole thing, like, and not be interrupted by anything. Like, I just want to be so focused because it draws you in, grabs you in.
I really appreciated like the subtle keynote changes on the piano, because there was one point where like the camera. Do you remember the guy with the black suit? He's from the Look One. He had the red blood grills, and he looks into the camera, and the keynote changes, and it's like only subtle. It's very, very subtle, but he looks at the camera and he goes.
There's a lot of little subtle things that they done. The thing that I would maybe say about the show in general, right? Section 1 was my favourite section. Section 2 was my least favourite section, because we'll go into section 2 now.
Yeah.
The thing that I thought was a little bit, like, when I was watching it, what I wrote down kind of was like, okay, I love the concept of it, right? But I was like, okay, if it is a fashion show at the end of the day, and the looks were not being served, in my opinion, but then also it's supposed to be a ready-to-wear collection.
Yeah.
So now I understand it. And then the closer it got in, I realised that the cloaks that they were wearing were massive oversized hoodies. And I was like, wait, that's sick.
You said it was like Traitors. It reminds you of Traitors.
I was like, oh, okay, traitor hood looking ass. Like, what's going on here? Like, and on a lot of these hoodies, it had the word cult on them. And I didn't realise, but apparently this is referring to how people have described Fecal Matter, the actual duo, in the past, that they're a cult. But also what people could call the 1% too.
Yeah.
So it's like that dig at like, oh, you think we're the cult? Okay, we'll throw that in your face. But also, who is really the cult?
Yeah.
You know? And
exactly.
I love that. But I've grown to like it. I think that this show in general, for me, the most like capturing part of it was the makeup and the styling. Because the looks, I guess you could say a lot of it you've seen before, but also not really. Like a lot of it is like, wow, insane, like creativity. But it is a lot of the accessories that they're famous for too.
Yeah.
So
it is very unique. I really like it. And I don't know if we've said, guys, but like the looks for part 2 it's the power of community. So just to reference some creators, I had a creator that basically made a video and it went viral, and I really liked the way he explained it. I Deserve Couture on TikTok, if you want to look.
That's where I was referencing as well, actually. Yeah.
Because they explained it really well. And one thing that I liked, I Deserve Couture and Chani Ra Fashion Commentary, that's the 2 creators. She said that basically the devotees, it was a direct parallel to the devotees and the workers of the capitalist dream, right? The capitalistic dream. So I was thinking, what does she mean by that? And I remember seeing a video one time about like the elitists being the puppeteers, and then like celebrities being the puppets, and then we're obviously at the very bottom. We don't even exist in that pyramid. And I was like, oh yeah, I feel like the second looks was given that. It was given like the people who would slave away for the elitists.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not necessarily the elites, they're not necessarily the ultra wealthy people, but like they are working hand in hand with them to I guess like attain that. I don't know.
That makes it make more sense, because that section was probably the section that maybe confused me the most, the one that I found the most difficult to understand, or I was very much like, okay, it's very head on, it's very obvious,
Yeah.
or it's not very obvious. It's like, but when I heard it was like the power of community,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's a bit more interesting to me actually.
Yeah. It's a bit like, I know that their last fashion show, they were referenced as a cult a lot from people. I mean, people have, to be fair, people have described Steven and Hannah as they worship Satan, they're Satanists, same
But
as
that's purely
Rick
just
Owens.
because of how they dress.
Yeah. And
like that is it.
they're a bit more gothic and I guess out there, but is that fair to say that they're Satanist worshippers?
Absolutely not. It's like people just love to hate on people that are different. And the thing that's like interesting is that Hannah and Steven never started out like, they didn't used to just dress like that. Like it was a thing that they started doing that for their work. They started dressing like this. They shaved their head. They started dressing like this purely for the work that they were putting out. Which I find quite interesting. At first I was a little bit like, is this fake freak behaviour? Like, is this putting on an act? And yeah, it is kind of, but then when you hear them talk about it, they're very much like, now we don't feel ourselves unless we are in this. So now it's very much them. And they were talking a lot about finding their confidence outside, like specifically Hannah, finding her confidence when she's not dressed like that, when she's not got all that makeup on. And it must be hard. It really must, because it's like, it's so extreme that underneath all that is literally, it's a bald-headed woman with no eyebrows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But do you not think it's quite refreshing to see someone like Hannah and Steven find confidence in those kind of looks compared to our last episode? We talked about influencers and how, you know, there's a certain look with influencers that maybe we can't all like relate to that. And I feel like someone like Steven and Hannah, who is like so polar opposite and they're so out there and just so like individuals, that I'm like, wow, they find confidence in that. I fucking think that's rocks, man.
I love it. And like anyone that knows me knows I love a steampunk look. I love punk looks, gothic looks. I love all of this. Like even me as a designer myself, I'm like, these looks are so interesting to me. And it's what, to be honest, like the crazy makeup looks is something that I would do for my design process. And that's why it was really interesting. I know we kind of went a little bit off, but it was really interesting for me to watch that and then hear them talk about it that way, because I'm like, it's strange because as a fashion designer myself, I'm like, the way that Gothy Baby designs this, I've created this image, I've almost created this character of like Gothy Baby. She's gothic, she's confident, she has crazy makeup, she has crazy hair, but Gothy Baby as a whole is the brand. So like the models, I like them to be quite punky, like stuff like that. And I think that I've only ever done like one full collection, but I think if I was to do another one, the makeup looks would be so much more extreme.
Yeah.
You know?
It'd have to be
with
like,
more time as well. Like
exactly.
I didn't have enough time to make things like so big and crazy, and I didn't have the money either. Like
if you had the resources, you would.
If I had the resources, I would, honestly. And honestly, all you need is some bald models and some good makeup, to be honest. So
Steven and Hannah are basically doing what every designer wishes to do, in the sense of you have this extreme vision and you're able to deliver it. If you have the money and resources like you did, Rihanna, all of your visions would be able to like be on a different level. And
I think it's really interesting that they've made themselves their brand too. And that's something that, like, I was talking about Alexander McQueen earlier. Alexander McQueen was a very he did not look anything like the stuff he put out on the runway. He done women's wear as well, and every show was different. Every makeup look, every look in general was completely different. So it's really interesting to see that like some designers adapt themselves and then some don't, but they put that out there.
Yeah.
And I love it when a designer adapts himself, and we'll get on to this, but I also love when a designer walks that runway as well.
Yes.
Absolutely, because that's what I've done that before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And yeah, I think I really enjoyed the second look. I think that with the makeup, and it was definitely the most terrifying
The section
part.
2.
Yeah, so the power of community, it was definitely the most terrifying. Like, I was saying to Rihanna, some of the images of the dark skinned models with the eye contacts, oh my god, that gives you some fears.
It really does, like them looking at the camera with the eye any of these all the eye contacts, honestly, all of the looks were terrifying. Like,
they're all terrifying.
All of the models were terrifying, and that was the point, right?
But I really enjoyed how all the models embodied every look that they were in. So for the power of community, I feel like the models had this like very shrug, I don't know, this very like fed up walk. It was almost given like they're exhausted, you know, mentally and physically, which is very different to the first looks. So I really love that every model really embodied themselves.
They really did.
They did amazingly.
And they picked the models perfectly.
Yeah.
None of them were like boring. Like
No.
all of them actually looked like they were meant to be there, you know. So
And can we talk about the diversity? Diversity, men, women, anybody, color. There was
Literally.
so much color in the show.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like people from everywhere. I really love seeing a show like that because also like, you know, if you're gonna do a show that represents society, you're gonna have to have people that look different.
Absolutely.
And the 1%, funnily enough, were mainly white people, which is the reality.
It is the reality, and I
Yeah.
think that it's really good that they pushed that across.
Should we move on to part 3 looks?
Yeah, so section 3 was the power of the future. So the show starts with Hannah,
Yes.
the designer, walking out in a full white cocoon-like outfit
I have
with
cocoon as well.
the iconic skin boots, but it was the version 2 of the skin boots. Now, if anyone knows Fecal Matter, they know them for the skin boots, right? The boots where it's like clear heel on the bottom, then toes on the top, and then it's literally molded to her leg to the point of hairs, moles, freckles, textures, pores, everything is completely her, and it's a whole new set of legs she basically puts on. It's a boot that completely covers her skin, and it's skin, and it's iconic. And honestly, if anyone wanted to buy them, they'd have to go and get them personally made.
And they're probably not gonna do it again.
No, and the boots that they done in this one that Hannah was wearing, she was saying that they were a bit more comfortable, and that these ones, the skin wraps all around the bottom of the shoe, which is so creepy, but I fucking love it. It's one of the most exciting things I've ever seen, like in fashion, like specifically in shoes. They slay at shoes so much.
They
like,
did. I paused it and I was like, huh? Like,
Yeah.
it's such an illusion. You're looking at it, you're like, what is that?
Literally.
But yeah, so we had Hannah starting the look, and then we also had at one point Michelle Lamy come into the show. And she basically was a representation of natural beauty. I think Michelle Lamy, whatever your opinions are on her, I think she always is very comfortable in her skin. She's very comfortable in her, you know, being an older woman.
And the
in her
beauty of
fashion.
aging in general, yeah.
She is a very beautiful woman, and she is very empowered by that. But I think that her coming on to the show with the outfit that she had, it was this very like creature-like outfit, you know, with the fur and her walk. It was very much a fuck you to society about performing and having to pretend, you know, because she's like, I'm not pretending, I'm an older woman who's beautiful, comfortable, sexy, and I'm aging, and that's that.
Exactly. And I think she looks gorgeous, and I think that furry look is so cool, and like it's all very grotesque, and I love it.
It is grotesque.
And this part of the show is basically like showing that the 1% have access to things that most of us don't. So this one's a lot about the surgical aspect and stuff. Like it really gets into it. I think this is a section where Brian Johnson is in it.
Brian Johnson, he was a big part of the show. I don't know too much about him. I think that's someone I need to look into just because he's not in the fashion scene that much. Like I don't know if he's done a show before this one, but what I do know is that he's been doing a social experiment on himself for a long time, and it's basically the not the reverse of aging, because I know Ash would tell me off for using that, but I think it's the prevention of aging and how he's prevented aging throughout his whole life. So there's a comparison photos of him maybe let's say 10 years ago to now. Rihanna, that's some witchcraft right there. He is, it's like, it's insane what
I
he's
need
done.
to look at this.
And I think, again, guys, please let us know in the comments if this is right, but I think it's like through the extreme measures of like health, diet, you know, really, he's really like perfected and curated his lifestyle, because you can't look that young without really having like a really strict and robust like schedule.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Honestly,
also,
fuck that.
He's also
a
1%er, so you wouldn't be able to do that shit, you wouldn't you?
And they said, like, the two people we just spoke about is that, like, also, sorry, I'm gonna go back. I digress. The show overall makes you feel uncomfortable, and that kind of shows that if this makes you uncomfortable, how does society make you feel? And I think that's such a good message. But in an interview with Dazed, Hannah and Stephen explained that Michelle Lamy is like their Parisian mother. and that she is a powerful woman. And they said, but she is somebody that uses her power for good. And I think that that's true in the sense of like aging and natural beauty. I really think she does. I don't know a lot about Michelle Lamy. Like I need to do my research on her.
Yeah.
And Brian Johnson, they said that he's part of the 1%, but they believe he has the ability to present ideas that they think makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's why they chose him to be involved.
So, yeah, I think this part of the show is really, really interesting because I think it's a direct exposition of the society we live in. So when I said at the beginning, is this show about us? The power of the future is very much like, is this show about us? There's a sense of uncomfortable, this uncomfortability that we keep talking about is a really strong descriptive word to use for the entire show, but especially for this section. Another creator that I would like to reference is Not So Quiet Luxury. So basically, this is a content creator on TikTok. He basically was analysing the whole show, and he analysed the last part of the show, and he said that they could have made this show very satire. They could have, and taken the piss with it, but what they did is they held a mirror up to our faces, and they held a mirror up to society, and it's quite ironic, but it's also quite intense. There's a lot of tension because they criticize the 1% in front of the 1%.
Exactly. And the thing is I'm like, oh, fuck the 1%. I wish I was there to watch it, to be honest, because I'm obsessed. Like, it's been a while since, like, for this episode, me and Kadsy were looking into, like, okay, like, Paris Fashion Week, what other shows can we look into? And we did look into it, and I was like, nah, this show is too interesting not to do a whole episode about. Like, we had to do a whole episode about this one because I think it was the most, like, it just really, people are talking about it all the time as well, but also you search up Paris Fashion Week 2026 on TikTok, and what comes up? This show.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is so interesting, and I love it. And I love the coats that were like, they were kind of like cloaks, but it was tailored coats that didn't have any space for arms.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with these. I thought it was very innovative.
Yeah.
It's almost like a poncho coat. Like, it just really, it was really interesting to me, like, in that last section, and the big massive silhouettes, and like, it's quite, like, beastly is how I would describe it. Like, almost like insects and, like, alien-esque. Like, it's classic fecal matter for you in general.
It is very creature alien. Like, it's like, actually, Jules, I can see why. I think knowing Jules and her being my friend, I can totally understand why she loved this show. Because actually, she was the first one to send it to me. Or send me, like, the analysis of it. And when we were, like, last year for Halloween, when Jules was trying to figure out what they wants to do for Halloween, I think especially being quite androgynous and non-binary, it can be quite hard. And every Pinterest photos that we were looking at, the three of us together, was alien-like, creature-like, grotesque things.
And a lot of fecal matter.
And a lot of fecal matter. And that is very
The
Jules.
Jew, not shit.
The what?
The Jew, not shit.
Yeah. The duo.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's very out of this world kind of vibe. But I think that it was interesting because someone said, or a lot of the comments, right, people were debating, is it self-aware performance or is it aesthetic rebellion that basically changes nothing?
I think it's aesthetic rebellion, but I think that
it doesn't change anything, to be fair.
It doesn't change anything, but it makes people talk. And what can you really change, like, other than shining a light? Like,
True.
We're sitting on a podcast talking about this right now. Like, what's that going to change? Nothing, but it's going to give people an opinion, and it's going to shine a light on it. And I think that these things, like fashion, people are like, oh, fashion, it doesn't matter, right? No, it does, because these are things that will keep stuck in people's brains for years.
Yeah.
If you think about, again, referencing back to Alexander McQueen, he made a collection about rape.
Yeah.
I think it was called Highland Rape. And everyone was like, oh my God, like Alexander McQueen hates women, this and that, right? See, to this day, that's one of his most iconic collections. Why? Because people were going crazy about it, like, what the fuck is this? Like, you hate women, blah, blah, blah. No, Alexander McQueen loved women.
Yeah.
He was shining on a light about the fact that that's an issue. And I think it's so interesting. That's what fashion is about, like, shining a light on something that's an issue. And I love it. And looking at the overall collection at a glance, every single colour, the only colours in this collection are grey, white, black. There's one beige look, fuchsia pink, and
guys, the fuchsia pink
that's
coats,
it.
the fur fuchsia pink coats. I want those so
Can you
bad.
believe that is the only colours in this entire collection?
Yeah.
There's one denim look. The denim look confused me.
Didn't love the denim look.
I was like,
all.
what do you mean you're wearing a denim jacket and denim jeans? I feel like that was a filler.
Yeah.
It's like that whole purpose of that one was just for the money. Because I'm like, what was the point in that denim look? I don't understand it. Like, you got to critique, like, especially being like a designer myself. I'm like, I can't look at this and be like, oh, every look was perfect, stunning, blah, blah. As I said before, I do love a lot of the looks. However, this was purely based on makeup and styling was what made people talk. If they didn't have that makeup and styling, people wouldn't be talking about it.
It wouldn't give it the symbolism that it does. But see, with the denim look, I felt like I wasn't there obviously in the show, but watching the show online, I also felt like the cameras were on him for a second. Because it really didn't matter. That look I felt like was very, very irrelevant.
It's literally got nothing on it but like denim jeans and like
I know
trousers. Like there's nothing interesting going on there. But yeah.
You know what's also interesting? And I feel like we always end up bringing film into our episodes, but this show reminds me of a lot of movies that I've watched because I really like psychological films, and so do you. I like a lot of horrors, and a lot of horrors and psychological films include like elitists, and they include like the 1%. And when you watch these movies, for example, Squid Game, they're the puppeteers. They are always masked and they're always hidden by like these gold-plated masks that probably cost them so much money, right? So it's literal money on
I've
their
never
faces.
seen Squid Game, actually. I think I'm the only person in the world that's probably not seen fucking Squid Game at this point.
I personally think season 1's probably the only season worthy of watching, but season 1 is like very, very, it stays in your mind for a long time, but a lot of the people, the ultra wealthy people, they are, you know, hidden in a room and they are the ones that are controlling everything, but they're not seen, you know, and they're like hidden by money and power and status. And like when I think about this show, it really ties into a lot of film that you watch, because a lot of film portrays exactly what's going on in society when it comes to them having control, but yet we're so distracted by everything else going on that we're like not even focused on the fact that they are the ones that are dividing us
exactly
and separating
and
us.
For this like collection in general, this just came to mind there. When I was like doing my research,
you didn't listen to anything.
Sorry, I did listen to what you said.
You know, I know Rihanna so well. I know her so well, guys.
I heard the Squid Game and I was like, wait,
she's not even
no,
locked in.
I did hear you. I did hear you.
Everyone boo Rihanna.
I haven't watched Squid Game. I'm like, I'm confused. Do you know what I mean? Sorry. Thought popped in my head and I was like, oh wait, I can't forget this. Do you know what I mean? But when I watched the show in general, like when I was doing my research, I came across Robert One's Fall 2025 Couture. Now the looks in this show were so outstanding and beautiful that I was like, this is the same theme. It's not the same theme, but if you look at it, it looks like what the looks could have been in the Matières Fécales show. It's like white dresses with bloody handprints and stuff all over them. And I was watching it and I was like, again, Epstein. It looks like it's pointing at that 1%.
Yeah.
All of the looks. Now this show in general, just a hot take on it, guys, go watch this show, Robert One Fall 2025 Couture. Go and watch it. These looks are so stunning and so, oh my God, like unbelievably beautiful that I was like taken aback. So that's a show that I could put an example of, like, if these looks were in that one, it would be even better. However, I know that they are just starting with their couture, like Matières Fécales, whereas Robert One's been about for quite a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, but if you look at that, maybe you'll understand me when I say that the comparison between the fashion and the accessory and like beauty and the makeup, hair makeup, was the main part of their show. Whereas this Robert one was the looks. But the looks in that show as well are very grotesque too. But yeah, go watch the show as well. Like a wee bit of research for you guys.
I would love to watch the show as well. I've not watched it. It sounds amazing.
It is amazing.
But just to go back to The Power of the Future.
Yeah.
The looks for that. Just because I think that it's a brilliant way to end the show. And again, back to the creator that I spoke about, they were saying how there was a lot of criticism on that show, but again, you could say that it is a strong commitment to like a concept that is narratively clear. Like yes, guys, there's a whole argument on TikTok. Everyone's debating each other, like, oh, it's ironic the 1% making 1% pieces. Of course, you can't deliver that high of couture outfits and garments without money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But guys, like, they took a risk, you know, they've taken a massive public risk of doing this, because maybe people are going to feel really disrespected. Maybe people are going to feel some type of way about this and not want to work with them, which having someone like Rick Owens on your side might not happen, to be honest, because he's, again, very, very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it is such a controversial show that it's like, I can see them being really nervous. Like, I can see Hannah and Steven being a bit quite nervous about, like, putting the show on. Do you not think
definitely.
so?
And the thing is like, from the point that you just said as well, is that in this Fashion Neurosis interview, they say that they do not design for anyone that they don't think has the same moral standpoint as them.
Which is good.
Which is so interesting. So I think that they've kind of always been about this, but I would be nervous to put that show on.
Yeah.
You'd be nervous, like, in general, having a Paris Fashion Show Week show, but to have one that crazy and that targeted, because the only people that are invited to these shows are people that are really rich and wealthy. So, like, it's, well, rich and wealthy means the same thing, Rihanna, well done, but, like, you know what I mean? These people are so powerful and rich. These are the people that are invited to fashion shows. So yeah, it is very much like pointing in their faces.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I fucking love it.
They couldn't have been any more, like, in your face. But I did see a few influencers in the crowd, because there was one influencer sitting right next to Rick Owens, and she's disabled, and she's very vocal about her disability and visibility to that. And she was sitting right next to Rick Owens, and I was like, wow, TikTok really gets you places.
It does.
It really gets you places, Rihanna. Like, I would love if you and I could have been there with our wee notes.
No, legit. This is the thing that I think as well. Like, see these Fashion Week shows. Something that, like, really gets me is I'm always like, they never have spaces for any young designers. Like, they should have 20 seats at least at these fashion shows for young designers that want to apply, that can be like, I want to go to this. They should just have tickets that they can give out to the youth.
Yeah.
To the new faces of fashion, not just Central St. Martin students either, by the way, because they're too privileged.
Yeah.
If you're a Central St. Martin student, fuck you. Honestly, fuck you. Like, I hate you. Like, you're so lucky. Like, you're so privileged. Like, you have no idea how hard we have to work and grind in Scotland, okay? So I'm like, they need to start letting people in that aren't just influencers. Sorry, why am I seeing a food influencer or something? Like, why am I seeing an influencer at a fashion event who does not give a fuck about fashion?
It doesn't make any sense, babe. It's the same with the Wimbledon. My dream is to go to Wimbledon one day, but also, if you're going to invite influencers to Wimbledon, invite sports influencers, girl. What are you doing inviting food critics or whatever it is? Like, there's a woman who made a TikTok being like, guys, I've been a sports influencer for so long, for over 5 years. Like, why was I not invited to Wimbledon? There's girls who are
legit
on YouTube. They're like, oh yeah, I've been flown to London. They're like, we don't know how tennis works. We don't know what Wimbledon is. We don't even know where London is in the world, but we're here.
And I also know, like, some influencers who get invited to Fashion Week events to interview people who do not give a fuck about fashion. Like, and I've heard it from people's mouths.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why are you there then?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. See, if you're offered it, you would obviously take it. But it's the people that are in charge of this stuff that really need to get their shit together.
Yeah. We're not criticising the people that take up the offer.
No, of course. I mean, like, take that offer, girl. Like, get that bag as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it's frustrating. It's like, now one of my new dreams, like, is to see a Matières Fécales show.
Yeah.
Like, I am so obsessed. I want to see this in person. Like, and I spoke to Katie about this earlier. I went to Berghain a few years ago, and there was these two people that walked in with, like, 2 pieces of hair and the makeup that was the exact same as Matières Fécales. And I swear to God it was them. I swear to God. And then I searched up and it was like, oh, they're known to be going to Berghain. Like, they're known to be about there. Apparently they designed some shoes that were based on, like, Berghain, like underground club vibes. Like, do you know what I mean? I swear to God, I was in Berghain standing next to these two dancing, and I had no idea who they were.
Rihanna was Anthony Mackie in the club, like, and they're just standing next to her.
I cannot believe it. I'm like, actually, I think about it and I'm like, oh. But also, even if I did know who they were, I wouldn't have been able to speak to them.
Yeah.
They were, whoever it was, it might not have been them, but they were so reserved. And if you see Hannah and Steven, like, in interviews and stuff, and you see them like they get ready with me video is one that's like very prominent, and you can see what their character's like. Like they've said, they're very shy and reserved.
Yeah.
They don't drink, they don't do drugs, they don't smoke, they don't do any of that. They're completely sober.
Which I was really surprised about.
They're very reserved. They keep to themselves. And these two people that I've seen in Berghain were literally they looked exactly like them, and they acted exactly like that video I've seen. Like it's fresh in the brain, so it's like it's actually crazy. I'm like, oh, honestly.
But then also, since we're really analysing this, do you think there is stuff we can criticise about them? Because I do feel like people do have a point about the criticism that they're getting, you know, like I think it's valid in some sense. I understand, like, you know, it changes nothing. I don't think that it changes nothing is a fair point, because again, like you said, they're bringing light to it. They didn't need to do that. They really didn't. But the thing is, we don't know a lot about Hannah and Stephen, and that makes me wonder a lot of things. It makes me wonder how they're so pally with Rick Owens. It makes me wonder how these doors have opened for them. Not taking away from their art and their designs, but I mean the sense of like the status, you know?
Definitely. And the thing that I would critique the most is like, okay, you started your whole brand based on the fact that you are unhappy with basically Hannah in that Fashion Neurosis interview said, I wanted to I got so angry and upset about fast fashion, so I decided, okay, I'm just gonna have to make my own clothes from now on, which now that's kind of all she wears, to be honest. But then I'm like, okay, but you've just made a couture fashion collection that is definitely not sustainable. There's no way that collection is sustainable. So I'm like, yeah, maybe you're not going to mass produce it, and that is good, and that is making a start, and that's fine. However, if you've got this whole like eco-friendly message, there's stuff, well, not eco-friendly, but sustainable. Their stuff is sustainable to an extent.
Yeah.
But not enough, in my opinion.
It's hypocrisy, because also I understand that fashion is one of the biggest industries to impact our climate and our environment. But if you have that money, time and resource, you actually can make your designs and your work very sustainable by also collaborating with other people who, for example, your friend Sophie. Sophie is Rihanna's best friend, who's also a designer.
Man Salon Studios.
Yeah, and she, is it tie-dye?
No, she does natural dyeing.
Natural dyeing.
So it's natural dyeing, like weaving, all these practices.
Sorry,
like
Sophie.
Everything that she does is sustainable to the point of the paper that she uses.
And like imagine someone it doesn't take a lot for someone with, again, that much time to contact and do your research and look at all these independent like designers, and to find someone like Sophie and other people like Sophie and be like, wow, I would love to work with you.
Even just to hear about what she thinks about natural dyeing processes and what materials are good to use and stuff. And that's a lack of what I've seen in their collection, to be honest. I'm like, some of the materials, I'm like, ooh, girl, that's not good for the environment. Like, you're making dresses out of mesh. Mesh is made of plastic. So, but also I do respect the fact that they're not mass producing, and that's the main point, isn't it? Like, it really is the main point, is that it's not mass production. However, I would have loved to see a messy trashing show from them. Like, complete trashing. Like my top.
Yes, with the cans.
Yeah, like little can tabs. Like, they could have done that. They could have done a complete trashing collection. Completely upcycled. I don't know exactly how they made it. However, the research that I've found is not pointing towards sustainable.
Yeah.
But definitely not mass produced.
Yeah.
So that's a start.
Consumerism is awful, and influencers are actually a really, really big factor. Not a big factor, but they encourage and involve themselves in consumerism, and I see it a lot in influencers, and it actually gives me the ick a wee bit. It pisses me off. Like,
it's like my £200 Shein haul.
Girl, you just bought an entire new wardrobe. Why are you now buying another wardrobe? It's okay. That's why I love charity shopping.
Yeah, literally. And the thing is that I do respect the fact that it is hard to make couture sustainable. I'm not gonna lie, it is. It's hard to make couture look good and sustainable, and I completely understand that. And I think that what they done was great, and it was amazing. And I think the main purpose of it all was the message that they've always wanted to get across. And I respect that so much. I'm like, okay, you've chosen this and you're running with it, and I respect it so much. Like, that's what this couture show was, their message that they wanted to put out. The stuff that they make are very one in a lifetime pieces. I mean, she was even like saying like the pieces are like $3,000 up.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's
not
not
really
affordable.
Yeah, it's not attainable for people.
But it's not mass produced, which is her whole point.
Exactly. But I think to end this off, I would like to do two things.
Mm-hmm.
I would like for you and I to use words to that we first thought of, that popped into our brain when we watched the show, that describes the show. Even just 1, 2, 3, whatever. Because I feel like there's probably a lot of descriptive words that came to your head.
Yeah.
And then also, I would also love to just tie in the show all together. Overall, what we thought, our opinions.
Can it be phrases as well?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Do you want to bat them back and forth like tennis?
Yeah.
Like, ping pong.
Yeah.
Marty Supreme over there.
Guys, I'm so happy Marty Supreme did not win. And
yeah,
Sinners won.
loser.
Sinners
I
won.
wasted too many hours of my life watching that movie. And Sinners is peak. Let's just say that.
I blame Hamza for making us watch that film.
Yeah, fuck you, Hamza. Nah, I would have went to see it anyway, to be fair.
Just to criticise
But
it.
yeah, let's start. I'll start. Ghastly.
Ghastly. Freakish.
Spooky.
Buccal fat removal.
Mocking the rich.
Decay.
Blood on their hands.
Theatrical.
Epstein.
Ooh. Uncomfortable.
Ball gag look. That's just a phrase I
had. Dreamlike state.
Gagged. In capital letters.
Yeah. All these in capital. Eerie.
Eerie. Ooh.
Yeah. Eerie's a good one.
8.
And chilling.
Devoured.
That's good. And then masterpiece.
Yeah. Political.
Yeah. Very political.
Yeah.
That's the perfect N word, actually.
Mhm.
It is very political. But yeah, I think that ultimately, overall, this show is a brilliant representation of a lot of things. I think it's a brilliant representation of money, status, and wealth, but also in the way that how it's impacting us. And we're gonna insert a wee photo of Lush in Glasgow City Centre. Their wall right now, sorry, not their wall, their window is basically very much Lush has always been a big activist, but they're all about, guys, we're too distracted by the 1%ers, we're too distracted by the billionaires, that they're trying to divide us, they're trying to target immigrants and migrants, and they're basically they're activating against that, and I think that when you look at the show, it is pretty much the same thing. It is very much guys, we need to wake up. It's
and I think fucking props to Lush Glasgow, by the way. Because I think Lush is probably the only shop that has the balls to do that, honestly. Because you don't see it anywhere. But when you walk into town and you see that, you're like, whoa. It's right in your face as well. I'm like, wow, I'm so proud of that. It makes me so happy to see that. Especially in Glasgow. Yes.
So good.
I love it. And I feel like that's not in any other Lush store.
No.
I feel like that's just the Glasgow one. Maybe it's not, but it feels like it's very, it feels like the people that work in that shop probably put that together.
100%.
It's very collage. It was really fucking cool, actually. The way they done it is so cool. I just love people. I love creatives, honestly. I'm obsessed.
Creatively sending a message is the best way to send a message.
It really is. Yeah. And that's what this all stands for, doesn't it? And as I said before, if this show made you uncomfortable, do the 1% not? Open your eyes. If that makes you uncomfortable, how do you feel about society, love?
Yep, guys. And don't give the excuse of, it's not their fault that they were born to money, babe.
No. Literally.
Go read the Epstein files for 1 second. You'll understand how inhumane it is.
And that is why this is the most important moment in time for for people to be doing this crazy shit.
Yeah.
Because that's what it all comes down to, is people are release the last ones, release the last files, get these people fucking jailed, by the way.
Get them to fuck, man, guys.
Did you see Harry Styles kind of called out Prince Andrew in his SNL rant?
What did he say?
He was like, I can't remember what he said. I'll insert a clip here.
But you know what? As a British man who spent a lot of his life in the public eye, I can assure you there's something nice about being boring. It's better than the alternative.
But he said something that popped up with a picture of Prince Andrew from the Epstein files. And I was like, hey!
Fucking
anyone who's calling it out that has a high status, well done you, man. I'm proud of you. Because I know it must be scary, especially when you're you're below these puppeteers.
Yeah.
So I know it must be scary, but honestly, well done to everyone that's calling it out and doing anything political or creative or you know, like just talking about it, have these conversations is important.
Yeah.
It
And
really, really is.
Vote green.
Vote green.
Vote green, guys. We're doing really, really well.
Yeah, legalize marijuana. No, I'm joking. That's the whole point that everyone's talking about, by the way. Like, that's the most.
Labour.
That is the least important thing on their whole campaign, but we won't get into it.
We won't.
Honestly.
Labour, you must be embarrassed using propaganda saying that they're legalizing all drugs. How embarrassing, bro. You must be on your knees.
Literally, on your knees crying and begging, like, as you should be. You can stay there, because you will stay there, because you ain't winning love. So.
Yep.
But yes.
I think that's
it. Let's move on to our favourite section.
Yes.
Song of the week.
Song of the week. Should we do should we mog?
Yeah.
I love mogging. I can't be serious.
Okay, Katie, you start.
Yes. So I told Rihanna earlier on that she would she would love my song of the week, because we don't tell each other our songs of the week, obviously. So my song of the week is Stronger. Wait. Oh,
what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
No, Stronger Than Me by Amy Winehouse.
You should be stronger than me.
Hey.
You've been here 7 years longer than me.
And I love when, wait guys, I love this song because she's so funny. She's like, are you gay? In the song.
Are you gay?
Are you gay? Woo! Icon. Rihanna, this song, I don't know, it came randomly in my head. I think I was listening to like proper old UK music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Proper like British songs. And why did I say British? Proper UK music. And then like I was looking, I was like, oh, like I want to listen to Amy Winehouse, but I listen to the same songs over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Then I found Stronger Than Me, which I haven't heard in years. And Stronger Than Me, I think, is an older song. I think she's really young in that song.
She is. That's from the Frank album.
Yeah.
So this is literally
It's this album.
It's this album.
Oh no way!
It's this album.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Which is my favorite Amy album, and that's my favorite Amy song, by the way. Like Stronger Than Me is my favorite Amy song.
I didn't know that.
I fucking love that song. So you're right. I love your song of the week.
I knew she would like
it. Okay, so my song of the week.
Sorry, she's putting the vinyl back.
My song of the week is "In My Room" by Troye Sivan.
Nice.
Now, I have a whole memory behind this song, right? So the sun started to come out in Glasgow, guys, right? We're living our best lives right now. And I'm like, this song, at the start of it is Spanish. And my memory is just being in Barcelona like this.
Oh, sorry, guys. It was me. I just hit.
I think it was me, no?
No, it was me.
Oh.
Last episode was Rihanna.
This is me in Barcelona. And it's like... But anyway, I'll insert a little audio clip. Make me need to speed it up or something. But imagine me in the sun, basking in the sunshine, having a dance to Troye Sivan. I'm in Barcelona. Everyone's singing along to the Spanish part of the song. It's sunny, it's warm, everyone's got a suntan, everyone's living their life, and I am crying because I'm so happy in that moment.
You need to
and
cry.
the artist who was on the song came on the stage and played the guitar for it. So I was like, oh, it was just a dream, honestly. And this is the song is such a good memory for me. And as soon as the sun comes out, I'm like, oh, In My Room by Troye Sivan.
Orgasmic.
In fact, that whole entire album by Troye Sivan is peak. It's peak. And I'm like, he said he was going to release music this year again. And I'm like, please, please, Troye, pull through.
Yes.
He's like my biggest celebrity crush, probably, actually.
So fine.
I really fancy Troy's fan. Like, I know you're a gay boy, Troye, but like also
Bisexual?
bisexual?
Perhaps.
Question mark? Me and my girlfriend are looking for a third.
Or
Nah, I'm kidding. We're not.
If
We're
you
not.
want a black woman in your life, I'm here and all. I'm here too.
Right, shut up, you. I said he's mine first, right?
He's so beautiful.
He is beautiful. Oh,
did you see him at the
my
Oscars?
man, my baby.
Taking me down.
They're really driving me crazy.
Did you at the Oscars? He was glowing.
Oh my God, he's
How do
always
you glow?
glowing.
How do you go like that?
Listen, can't see. Troy's fan is always glowing.
But you're such a lesbian though, because he literally looks like a woman.
He
I
does.
Mean, so
He looks like Jules looks like the female version of Troy's fan, like especially when she had the blonde hair. Like
she says this a lot actually, Rihanna. Does Jules see it?
Yeah, people have said it to her too.
Yeah,
a lot of people tell her that she's the female version of Troy's fan.
Yeah.
So it's not shocking, is it?
Nah, it's no shocking. I'm
No
the
shocking.
manager though. I'm the manager. That's what it goes back to. I'm the manager.
I don't know what you're referencing, but I like it.
Okay, fair. Anyway, guys, we're gonna love you and leave you.
Yeah.
I hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, we loved it. We were so hyper, actually. Like,
Yeah.
I realised that me and Katie were like, we were playing tennis. Woo. Ah, Wimbledon. Woo.
We're better than Marty Supreme.
I'm using 2 hands. Tomato.
It's because we love talking about fashion. Me and
We
Rihanna
do.
will sit on our couch and watch fashion shows.
Yeah, we'll literally
Just
be like,
for fun.
what can we watch today?
And the thing is,
Literally.
it might seem like me and Rihanna are constantly like, we're talking and then we're moving on points, which I know that it might seem like that if you don't know us, but we're both so passionate that it's like, it doesn't offend each other. Like, I've said something and I made a joke about it, but Rihanna will move on because she has something to say, and that's fine.
Literally, it's like my ADHD is just very much like, me and Katie are very in tune like this, right?
Yeah.
So for example, if I have a thought in my head and I need to like keep thinking of it, so Katie can be saying something, I'll just be looking at her like, it's not going in.
Yeah, and
it's
I know
not
she's
going in,
not.
love.
I know she's
like,
not.
because I'm like thinking of what I'm going to say next. And then it's like, for example, we'll be on like section 2 of the fashion show, but then we'll go back to section 1 and then jumble about. But I hope you guys still like our conversation style because that's just us. We're just being authentic.
Exactly.
And the more we do this, the more authentic I think we are. The more we do this in the podcast studio, the more authentic we become.
Yeah.
And that's what happened when we were on the sofa. And it's like, that's exactly where we want to be.
Yep.
And yeah, love this studio. Love you guys. Love this podcast. Love life.
Love life.
Live, laugh, love.
Bye, Divas.
Bye, Divas.
See you later.